There we go. There we go. Yeah, I think that's worked. I'm really hoping that this is not buffering and going mad because it keeps saying I'm trying to look at a preview window. Looks okay. Whoever's watching, then, so there's a couple of people watching. Let us know in the chat if you're getting a nice smooth kind of playback, because it's telling me there's problems, but I don't think there is. Welcome back to UnPouched. It's been quite a while since we've done a live UnPouched, but we're trying a bit of a different thing this time, so we've got some people with us this time. We're running a little bit late. I think we're about 10 minutes late starting. We've had a couple of issues just getting sorted. Yeah, it's good to be back. So, I mean, probably start off with the reasons why we stopped doing it in the first place. It's been about a year, isn't it, I think, since we last did one. We weren't getting a huge amount of people watching, so we just stopped doing them. And then everyone come back and said they really, really enjoyed watching them, and they wanted them back. So by popular demand, we thought bring them back.
I also think that, I mean, apart from the quite low numbers of people that were really valued, but it was a lot of work planning and preparing and doing things in a really structured way. And this time, it's not just us. So, whoever's tuning in, you don't just have to listen to us for half an hour. We've got lots of people on board that want to be guests during the week. So I think that's really going to improve it.
Yeah. So we're going to try a new format for UnPouched. We're going to try and do it once a month, so it makes it easier for us to plan and properly sort out. We're going to try and have, at least like we have today, at least 3 guests, possibly more. We're all just going to chat. We're not going to necessarily plan too much. There might be a couple of subjects we decide on, but we'll just go from there. We'll make it up as we go along. We'll see how we go. So yeah, Annette, you haven't missed anything because we started 10 minutes late, so you're right on time. So to introduce who we've got with us today, we've got Shannon. Shannon's got 2 of our rats. We've got Sven and his partner Caroline, who both also got our pouches, and obviously us. So welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us on Pouch. How are you all doing?
Don't think they can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
You can hear us, okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I'll say it should be coming through. No, that's fine. And we've got a couple of pouches with us. That's the good thing, is that we're not, rather than we have to babysit the computer at the same time.
Hi, Edna.
We've got Edna with us, and Sven, you've got Tuka as well, haven't you? Is that all Tuka does?
She's sleepy.
You do? I mean, you've got a pouchy that's broken in a completely different way, because that isn't normal, Sven. I hope you know that.
Yeah. I think he doesn't realize how sweet she can be, and I wouldn't expect it from the pouchy.
That it isn't normal at all. It's really not.
They really.
I think she likes me.
She does.
I think she likes me.
They are really that placid, especially
the females.
Yeah, especially the females. And while Arthur would sit on me and look like that, it would be a snapshot or a window of about 10 minutes, and then he'd get up and clear off and do something. And she just seems to be a lot more placid, which is lovely. You're very lucky.
Yeah.
I just love her, and I treat her like a princess. I've built a whole room, pouchy free.
Yeah, I think you prepared more than anyone with what you did in advance.
It's ironic, you've prepared all these things, Sven, for a really lively animal that's going to run around getting into everything and chewing everything, and all she does is sit next to you.
Yeah.
But no, I think she has to go pee-pee. Wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's taking her to the toilet like a proper pouchy dad.
Yeah.
We've got a lovely view of the ceiling, actually. That's really nice.
Yeah. We made it together. It was 10 hours work, but I loved it because we made it for Tuka, and because the stars on the wall, on the wall, it's were Virgos from horoscope.
Oh, I see.
So we
the constellation is Virgo.
Yeah, yes. We made it like Virgos on the wall.
Yeah, I'm satisfied.
I think we are getting a bit of buffering, which I always
Yeah.
hate, which is annoying because we've got it set quite high. That's rather odd.
Oh, look at Tuka. You know, there's 2 pouches on here, and I'm trying to think out of all of ours. Oh, who should I get out? And I'm thinking, well, none of them would sit still. What do you think?
Well, yeah, we never get any of the benefits of our own rats because ours always seem to be the completely mad
And they'll be
ones.
walking over all the keyboards that have set this up as well. So yeah, I don't think we can do it.
I'm just asking the guys in the chat, how bad's the buffering? Because from my side, it looks really bad. If it's as bad as it is, I might quickly try and adjust something. It takes so long to get this prepared.
Is the sound working? The sound's not buffering.
I'm not sure. This is asked. Tell me in the chat if it's working, if there's any problems, and we can go from there if it needs to be done.
Oh, hello, Steph. It's nice to see you there on the chat. Can everybody hear us clearly? Because rather than to sort of have a discussion, rather than just keep everyone waiting. Oh,
I've just started streaming again. Let's see if that's any. Recommend that you use. Right, okay, that looks better. That looks better. No recommended bitrate. Recommend use this thing. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. Right, cool. I think that solved the problem then. I think I'm asking too much for from my computer. I'm asking it to run 3 screens, 1 webcam, 2 headsets, and stream and everything else, and it's just a small little laptop. And it's probably going, no, I can't do this.
I think a nice place to start would be along the lines of a post that I put up about a week and a half ago now, and asked people for accounts of how they found it being the first time owner or second time owner of a pouched rat, and what they expected. Has anything differed from their expectations? Has anything in their lives changed due to having one? So I think it would be quite nice if someone would like to start.
No words.
No words.
It's kind of a baptism of fire, and I think, if anything, out of a lot of the owners, I think you guys have had it probably the easiest, dare I say. You've kind of
not had a hard time.
No.
No.
You had that brief
temper tantrum when Bernard came home.
You had that, yeah. You had that pretty bad with the jealousy, didn't you?
Yeah, but she'll still, if she can smell him on me, she'll still get a bit nippy.
There is a very, very certain jealousy there. I mean, I think they certainly do get jealous of other ones, a bit like a sibling, a new baby sibling coming into the house.
It's weird though, because if she goes over to his cage and stands there and has a sniff, she's fine. She'll just kind of have a sniff and wander around and then wander off. But if he comes up to her cage, she's straight out and all fluffed up. Like, what are you doing here?
Bloody fuck you.
Yeah, they do tend to be really territorial. So, I mean, Edna's another lovely example of a rat. She's so attached to you, Shannon.
Yeah,
she really
she's lovely.
How is she with Johnny nowadays?
Yeah, she hates him.
No, it's no different.
I woke up this morning, so she's got a shelf in her cage, and if you leave the shelf in, for some reason, she'll just stop trying to get it down. It's one of the Savick shelves. Yeah, she hates it. So she'll bang against it, and she'll jump up, and she'll hit it, and she'll pull at it, and just make loads of noise. So I woke up this morning, and Johnny was in the living room trying to get this shelf out of her cage because she just wouldn't stop with it. And it was really loud, and she was just stood there guarding it, and he was like, I can't get it. I can't.
He didn't want to put his hands in. I really don't blame him. It's funny you say that, because I don't know if you've seen the little metal cups. They're actually for birds. They're called coop cups, and they've got like a circular frame, and you screw it onto the cage from the outside. I thought I want them all to have water, but I don't want them all knocking it over and soaking their bedding in the night and sleeping in wet beds. So I got them for each cage and put them on.
The same thought.
Yeah, put them on with varying degrees of success, and Tetra went absolutely mad. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, no, because it's something
He picked
different.
it up, the water went everywhere, he was chucking it right round the cage. He just went absolutely mad, and he's really even-tempered.
Oh, almost certainly.
But it really set him off. It really did. So we're still looking for an alternative to those, really.
Yeah, it's the same with hers. I got her a food and water one, and she would not leave them alone.
Oh,
They're
Linda's
so
here.
noisy.
Linda, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Linda.
We can hear you, Linda.
I'm trying to connect to my camera for the video.
Okay.
So I have a question for you guys. So, do any of your pouchies bang bowls in an attempt to get attention?
What we mean is they'll stand either in front of or sometimes in a food bowl, say a ceramic food bowl, and they get hold of it with their front paws and pull it backwards and forwards and repeatedly slam it against the doors. Do any of yours do that?
That's what Edna does with the shelves.
Right, because we had Bob, didn't we? Bob was an incredibly intelligent animal. If there was a problem to be solved, he'd just sit there for a few seconds and work out. You could see him thinking rather than brute force. You could see him thinking, how am I going to get this done? And it was him that started doing the ball banging. So he was actually using a tool in order to make the maximum amount of noise that he could, so that we would go downstairs and go, oh, what's the matter, Bob? What's wrong? Open the door. So he trained us to go to him when he made that noise, and somehow the others have adopted that.
Well, we've always been quite specific that you don't give any positive reinforcement to behaviour you don't want, and that goes across for all animals. So if it's something they do, the best thing to do is not to react, and at least then you're not going to be promoting that behaviour. But they still do it. It's not like it's ever stopped them from doing it.
No.
And that implies that they know. I mean, using a bowl to bash against the side of a cage is one thing. That it is kind of a low-key tool usage, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
But to understand that there is someone to hear that is beyond, I think, beyond just basic tool usage.
It's theory of mind. They are predicting what we will think in order for us to perform an action for them. And that's just beyond intelligent. It's intelligent, yeah. All of ours do have varying degrees of intelligence. Some of them just really aren't that bright at all.
There's definitely a comparison between some being a bit dim compared to others.
I mean, Bob in particular stood out for me, and his sister Alice, who has all the babies, she is incredibly intelligent.
Look at her in your arms, Sven.
Oh,
she just hangs there.
It's a shame with Alice because you can't really do anything with her because she doesn't like humans very much and she bites.
She's never been a people rat, which is fine. You can't force that onto them. The state of that, honestly.
I know. She's an amazing mother. I mean, getting back round to that subject, really, it's massively heartwarming, and sometimes I get a bit lost in the day-to-day chopping up food, cage cleaning, making sure everyone's not ill, and getting things done. But just to look at the few people out of so many people that we know now on the screens, both screens, it was actually pouched rats that have brought you all together, and those babies were born here in this house. So, in what way do you think they've changed you for the better? Anybody? Or are you just having a permanent nervous breakdown now?
I think because I've got like a lot of I've got anxiety and depression, and I think Edna's like bringing her home. It's definitely given me like structure to my day, and it was like I saw it was something a lot of other people were saying. Actually, was that
she's telling you off now. That's an ungrateful
cat. I've got biscuits.
Oh, she's getting angry because she wants
like them? Ours won't touch anything like that, will they?
No, they're actually really fussy with junk food.
Yeah. What biscuits have you got?
Oh,
that's why. Right.
Yeah. But no, I saw a lot of other people saying that just like having a reason to get up and know you've got like a companion and she genuinely does like make me laugh every day.
Yeah.
Because she'll just do either if it's something ridiculous, like she's just run full pelt into a wall without looking where she was going, or like she's climbed to the top of the cat tree and now she can't work out how to get down, and instead of like waiting for me, she just belly flops off it. So it's silly things like that, but it's just definitely like every day there are just nice little bits.
Yeah, and you know that I mean, they're needy in the respect that they'll bond to one person, and they do really need that person. You know, it's difficult because I mean, the world has opened up very, very slightly now because, you know, with Arthur not being here, none of the others have quite that same level of need that he did. And, you know, rushing back so that you can take your pouch rat to the toilet because he wouldn't go in his cage. And, you know, if I did have the odd night away, he was thoroughly miserable, wasn't he?
Oh, he'd suffer for it, almost certainly. And that's the thing. So, I mean, that probably leads on. There's a brilliant question that's been asked in the chat by Joseph Bowman, and that's, I've always wanted some pet rats. I figured once I learned how to take care of fancy rats, I would upgrade to pouch rats. Any advice for a new keeper when that happens?
An upgrade, is it? I mean, yeah, I guess it's an upgrade in size, but it's a lot more, Joseph, like a sidestep into a different kind of animal.
It's hard to
they
compare
are very,
them.
very different to a fancy rat, and we've kept both for years, for a number of years.
They're more jumpy. I don't know. They have, really.
Sven, a sloth would be more jumpy than
Tuca. How they jump and how they run and how they react.
I think that's the underlying I say is that these are not particularly predictable animals. They are, as a breeder, we aim to, you know, have this kind of at least semi-predictable line. When we have babies, we want to be mostly confident they're going to go off and they're going to be happy, they're going to be friendly, they're going to have a good life. They're not going to be terrified. And that's the big difference, is that, you know, that if you were to imagine, like with fancy rats, you've got this boundary where they fit into, and for fancy rats, a good breeder would say the boundary is quite small. You know, you'd say, oh, they might be a little bit to the left, they might be a little bit unhandleable, they might be a bit skittish.
They make fantastic pets if they're handled from birth. They make amazing pets, fancy rats.
But with pouchies, the boundary is much larger between where they could be and where they. And I find that they can be a lot more than a fancy rat in terms of how interactive and how loving and amazing they can be. But at the same time, they can be really awful at the other end.
But it can be very changeable as well. You know, you'll start off with a rat that will love you, and then one day it'll turn around and bite you and keep biting. We've got, I mean, Bob was like that. Bob turned on a penny and decided one day that he was going to sink his teeth into my hand, and I couldn't be around him anymore. He would just run at me and bite. Rory's done a funny one. It's her birthday today. She's she full on attacks you, and there was no reason why. There's
videos on the channel of her of me walking around, her following around the house, and then one day she just decided, I can't stand you. And I'm not scared of much when it comes to animals. I'm not scared of being bitten. I'm not scared of. I've had so many bad bites of various animals over the years. I'm not overly fussed anymore. But when she chases me, I run.
Well, yeah, you don't come out now. You come up here and sit up here when I get around. And she nips me as well. If I'm upstairs, she'll bite me. But if I'm downstairs, she doesn't.
Well, I was in this office, and you had her out, and I realised I needed a battery from the bedroom. So I opened the door really carefully, and I'm looking around. It's almost like out of a horror film where you're just like poking your head around, having a look.
Yeah, where is she?
and she wasn't upstairs. I was like, phew, okay, I'll sneak by. And I walked down just by the stairs, and I'm looking down the bottom of the stairs, and she's at the bottom of the stairs, and she stops, and she looks up the stairs and sees me there. And there's like a 2-second delay of me staring at her and her staring at me. And then she runs full pelt as fast as she can up the stairs, and I run back in the bedroom as fast as I can and slam the door. And I can hear her going, the door. And I'm thinking, if she gets hold of me, she will tear chunks out of my feet.
She just sits there and stares at the door sometimes, knowing you're in here. Yeah. It's like she's ambushing
Edna does that to Johnny. If Johnny walks past the bedroom door when Edna's out, she just runs over and she starts sniffing underneath the door. He did the same thing the other day where he opened the door whilst she was out in here. And he just opened it a tiny bit, and he was like, "Oh, who have you got out in there?" And the next thing you know, Edna's halfway up his leg already.
Yeah. It's bloody scary when they do it. They're really frightening.
Yeah, she's completely unrecognizable. Like,
Yeah.
she's scary.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would advise. So, I mean, as an underline for Joseph, I'd say with fancy rats are good for these sort of mostly good for beginners when it comes to animals. But I think you've got to have a real heavy-hand is not the word, but kind of you're not scared by much, and you've got kind of understanding of animal mentalities, and that's what makes a good owner, in my opinion.
You've got to be very tolerant.
You've got to be very, very tolerant, and you've got to be confident because they pick up on that.
And they break stuff.
They do break everything. You can't. One of the things that we always find, it tends to become the crux. The reasons why we might say to people, you know, you're not necessarily going to be a suitable placement. People who rent, and it's like they can do so much damage to your house so quickly.
A good example: doors and door frames. They've chewed. They don't get in every room in the house, but they will try. So if they can't get in the room, they'll chew the door frame, and they've made some beautiful rounded edges on every single one of our door frames. And if we were renting, I can't imagine any landlord or landlady being too pleased with that. If we moved on, they would want all of the door frames in the house replaced.
Oh, every single door would need to be replaced in this house.
And the doors, because
every
they've
door
chewed the
frame
bottom of the
would need to be
doors. So it
replaced.
would cost you a fortune, absolute fortune when
Basically,
you're
it's
there.
like surrender any security deposit you put down if you've got rented accommodation. Don't expect to get it back because it's not going to happen.
You might even have to fork out for more, and then when you want a reference,
They'll say,
for your next
don't
place,
let them
they'll
in if
just
they've
say
got the
no. Be afraid. There's all of those things to consider and the expense if they're not well. I'm looking at Linda because
Linda knows.
We know about the hideous cost and the emotional cost as well. You can't possibly underestimate how worrying it is if they get ill or worse. It's horrific.
It is terrifying.
Yeah. And they've got that ability to get right into your heart and rip it right out when things go wrong. I know the fancy rats do that too, and I used to be heartbroken when I lost them for a few days maybe, but nothing like this. Nothing like the grief we've suffered when our pouchies have gone.
No.
Yeah. So there's so much to consider, and the expense isn't just material.
This is the hardest part, and this is kind of a recent thing with us. So we've had a stint. I mean, that's partly the reason why I think we stopped doing UnPouched so much. Is we had a bout of lots of different pouches needing the vets a lot. We had Arthur being very ill. We've still got things going on now, and the cost just mounts up and up and up. And we decided that we weren't going to have them insured anymore, and we were going to save the money ourselves, because once you've claimed an insurance once for them, you're virtually guaranteed your premiums are going to shoot right up, and it's unfeasible.
Yeah. If I can give an example, Arthur was ill with something we think we brought back from Africa, a parasite, and he was extremely ill. That was about 3 years ago now, and he was insured. Exotic Direct were brilliant. They paid out well over £1,000 for all the veterinary treatment you had to have and the overnight stays, etc. But they don't pay straight away. You have to pay first, basically. You have to find that money to pay the vet, and then they will reimburse you after a couple of months and a lot of nagging. But they did pay out. They were great. Asked to insure Arthur again, and they said, the premium will be different. And it went from £15 a month to £70 a month, not 17, 70 quid a month. Because they'd already. So you can't. Who could do that? Who could do that? So especially as we have a lot of them, times that by 10, and you're in a lot of trouble. So we tend to just save money. We've got a savings account, and
that is easier.
That gets emptied regularly. So.
I think the other thing that's come up recently, because the vets we use, won't name names, but the vets we've used the same vets for a long time, and they've expanded rather quickly, and we're not particularly satisfied with the service we're getting with them anymore. So we have been looking to see if there are other vets, and I almost feel like we want to put the vets under a job interview because we spend so much money on them. We want to ask them all these questions, and we want to know that they're going to be suitable. And it's been hard, hasn't it, finding a suitable vet. A lot of them just won't touch them.
A lot of them as well are under the same pressures as any other vet, and they're not taking on new clients. I think with the one we use, they have kept on taking on new clients, taking on more and more and more, and they've actually got too many people on their books now. It's sort of gone a bit wrong, really.
Yeah.
They started off as a tiny practice years ago. I was taking my fancy rats there long before we had Pouches, and they had this very, very modest little East End practice, very tiny, and it's since they've got the new premises now that you kept waiting a lot. They get muddled up as to which one of the rats they're talking about and things like that. It's
the personal touch has been lost, and that's the hardest bit.
Yeah, you've got a vet, Linda. Linda, you've got a vet, haven't you, that you've been using for years?
Yeah, but what happened was he had his own practice, and then various things went wrong with the staff, and he actually sold the practice to a corporate, after which it really went downhill. But then he left. So it took me a few months before he started. He started with another practice, which was one of the few independent practices left in Edinburgh, I think. So I'm sort of back seeing him again. He's been looking after Kojo since Kojo got poorly. So. Yeah, I mean, I've got great faith in him, but what happened immediately after his practice, he sold his practice to a corporate, was the prices just doubled. And nothing changed really. It's not as though they'd invested in lots of really high-tech equipment or anything. It just...
They know they can. They've got the monopoly over it. Yeah.
Yeah, the prices are so variable between vets. Someone was discussing that the other day, I think. And it's really, it's either a lot of research or potluck people have to put in finding a vet that will take them on. Have you used a vet yet, Shannon? Everyone's frozen.
No, I think it's just Shannon that's frozen.
Oh, you still there, Shannon?
Shannon?
I don't suppose you've needed to see a vet with Tuki, have you, Sven?
What?
No,
you've not needed to see a vet with Tuka.
No, I don't have any issues with her.
No.
No, she's still really young, isn't she?
Oh, Shannon's back, but now she's at 90 degrees.
Sideways, but
you need to lay on your side now, Shannon.
Oh look, she's back.
I'm falling. I'm sorry.
That's what happened to me when I first linked up to the phone, because my webcam is knackered, and when it first came on, it was sideways.
Oh,
there she is.
Oh, there you're back, Shannon. Hi. Do you have a vet for the Pouches? I don't suppose they've had to see one yet.
Edna's been. I took Edna after about a week of her aggressive behaviour after I brought Bernard home.
Yeah.
But I went to a vet. I'm a hairdresser, and one of my clients she just spoke very highly of the vet that she works for. So I went to go and see her in Exeter. So it's about 45 minutes away from me, but because it wasn't like an urgent appointment, it wasn't an emergency. So I went there, and it was during lockdown, so I wasn't allowed to go in. So I was really, really, really nervous because I felt awful because I was just like handing Edna over in her travel case with like a tube of malt paste. Like, I'm so sorry if she hurts anyone, but this might help.
Oh, yeah, it is hard. They're still, you know, the practice we use, they're still doing that now. You hand the animal over and they take them in. But
to be fair, it was fine. When she came back out, she said Edna did nip the vet, but only kind of a warning nip, and that was it.
Yeah, I remember when Arthur was having treatment. I mean, Arthur was my baby. He was a complete baby with me, and he would tolerate you, wouldn't he?
I was just a thing. I was just a thing. I was there in the house. I was there if he needed to get somewhere, but that was it.
Anyone else he would bite. There wouldn't be a warning. There wouldn't be a warning nip or anything. He could be nasty, and on the occasions when we tried to introduce him to other rats, he was straight in. You'd have sort of one rat there and like that, pulling them apart. That happened a couple of times, and I think the other rats were quite aware, really, that he was either the oldest or aggressive.
He wasn't the biggest, but he had this aura about him that was like, mess with me and you're going to be in trouble.
Anyway, when he had the prolonged treatment due to Giardia, he bit everyone in that practice except one vet. There was one vet that could, and he knew he wouldn't get. I don't know whether he perceived that this vet was the boss or something. I really don't know, but he didn't bite Alex, did he?
No, he didn't bite Alex.
Everybody else.
To be fair, I wouldn't bite Alex. There's some vets there that I would bite, but I wouldn't bite Alex either.
No, he's a lovely guy. I mean, he admitted freely when he started treating Arthur. He said, "I've not treated one of these before, but one of the people I studied with at veterinary college now works for the zoo at Bristol. He's in Bristol Zoo, so I'm going to call him." And since then, I think, you know, through us, Alex has had a lot of experience, and he is now the vet for them. So, you know, it's another good reason to kind of stay on with the practice, but it's just the waiting around and the faffing about. So
it has got to the point you're dropping them off. You're not even there for an appointment. You're just literally dropping them off for an operation, and you're waiting an hour.
Yeah, just for someone to pick them up out of their car park. They're inundated. To be fair, I think that you know, I just think that they've taken on too many people.
My vet's just started letting people back in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's nice that I don't even know whether the animal benefits from it necessarily. It's just nicer for the owner if you can be there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And not hand them over, isn't it?
Yeah, because they can ask you questions as they find things, sort of say, "Oh, well, was he like this before?" or you know. But today, Alistair, my vet, said, "Oh, let me go and have a look at him, and I'll get you in 5 minutes into the examining room." So while he was examining Kojo in his carrier, he always examines him on the floor, with the carrier on the floor, just in case he tries to make a leap for it. And despite the fact he's really poorly, Kojo managed to force his way out and went trotting around the exam room, checking everything out.
He's still got a bit of fight in him then.
Back in the carrier, because there was no way he was going back in.
How's he doing now, Linda? Does he seem like he's on the mend, or
he's eating next to nothing?
That's worrying.
So the vet, when he was feeling it, says he can feel some kind of blockage or obstruction in part of his colon. He's hopeful that he's just kind of got bunged up, so he's given me some medication to give him over the weekend. But if he's not eating for Monday, I'm supposed to take him back in for an ultrasound. And I'm just thinking, please don't let it be a growth or a tumor.
I know. You can't stop yourself from thinking the worst. You just can't stop. You can't help yourself, you know. And chances are, it's something that's perfectly treatable. I've just moved on this leather chair, and I want to make it clear that it wasn't a fart, just before anyone. I wasn't.
Hold for it.
Ouch. Oh, they're hurting me. I would admit if it was, I'd be proud of that. That was a good one.
I think it was. Oh, Edna, you're so noisy.
She doesn't stop.
That's like, oh, I like that. I like that. That's really good.
Oh, they're baby noises. That's the noises the little babies make when they're feeding.
She's always done this. She'll just curl up upside down
Yeah,
on her back.
the babies feed upside down and they do that noise when they're feeding.
We've had these funny noises. It's not funny when it's like 3 a.m, isn't it? But we've tried to change around some of the groups, because whenever we end up with like individuals, lots of individuals, we try and get them back into groups of pairs, because ideally, you want a male and a female living together, but them to either be as part of being bred properly or one of them being neutered. And they do seem to be a lot happier when they're in a pair. And 2 males will very rarely get on, 2 females will never get on.
Yeah.
So you are left with just trying to find a way of making a male and female get together. So we separated out Tetra and Venus. Now he's gone to live with Rory.
Yeah, Venus doesn't show any interest in mating with anybody. We've tried before, and she's lived with Tetra for about 18 months now.
Yeah, he sort of...
And nothing.
No, doesn't
I
really.
don't think she's fertile. She did, however, show a lot of interest in Rory when Rory was younger.
Oh, she
was all over Rory. I think she might quite like females and not like males. It's possible,
which is fine. It's good to have a female that we know has no interest.
Yeah.
Well, but it's useful because it means we've put her in with Pumbaa, and at the moment we've not really got an interest in having a litter from Pumbaa because he's second generation. We've got to be really selective on who we put him with. But they're not quite sure of each other, are they? Initially, they're sleeping in separate beds, and then he would try and go in, and she'd scream in his face, and he'd come out again.
The screams are terrible.
Yeah.
You think she was being murdered, but she's just screaming at him, and then he starts.
But they're now sleeping in the same bed, but he keeps like putting a leg over on her, and then she screams, and then
Get off me!
I'll let you in the bed, but don't touch me. Don't go near me. But then we caught him licking her face earlier, and she didn't like that either, did she?
And she was screaming in her sleep while he licked her face. And then when I looked down earlier, no one was in the bed. So I looked behind the bed, and they'd taken all the bedding out of the bed and put it behind the bed, and they were both asleep there. So they'll get there.
I've just seen in the chat that Franz has a has a pouching. He's in South Africa.
South Africa. Oh, hello, Franz. It's really nice to see you there. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know that. So Franz is saying in the chat that it's not very natural for them to be all the way down in South Africa, and that they tend to be slightly more north. Which is true. They sort of have that band, not quite as far as South Africa, but just slightly, almost like the middle below sub-Saharan Africa.
You are just making noise for the sake of making noise.
Sorry, Linda, you're sort of quiet there. What was that?
That's what I said. Isn't it the Assorgis that are native to South Africa?
And the Ansorgi or the Ansorgi. They're the ones in Tanzania, the ones that they use for the mining work. Yeah, they're not like ours. They're a lot they're very thin and whippy, and they've got reddish coloured fur
pointy,
and cream,
aren't they?
Cream bellies. Yeah, they're very extremely lean.
I think it's funny how they've found their little niche. They're all different niches.
Yeah.
Because when you look, it's about the different areas that they inhabit.
Yeah, ours are a lot more thick set. So I don't know where you'd find them. I know that I've spoken to people at work. I work in an NHS hospital. I've spoken to the women there from Zimbabwe and from Ghana, and showed them pictures of Arthur at the time. And they're going, oh yeah, we get them at the bottom of the garden. They run around and they're this and that, and you see them with their babies. And I said to the 2 women I was talking to, I said, are they regarded as pests? And she went, no. It's live and let live out there. They're over there doing their thing, and we're in the house doing our thing, and they don't they don't try and eradicate them like we do with our wild rats. It's different.
I think, though, in so many places in Africa, even in towns, they're so used to all different kinds of wildlife just always being there, where we seem to be so weird here.
Yeah, I mean, the two nurses I was talking to actually, they looked a bit puzzled when I said, do you put bait down for them or traps? And they went, no. I said, why would you do that? They were like, yeah. She said, and one of them said, some people do eat them though. They do. They get their bush meat. They get caught by people and they get eaten because the poor people haven't got anything else to eat. So I guess they're fairly easy meat.
Oh.
Pardon the pun.
That's their major predator, really.
It's yeah, and when they go, when they stand up on their back legs and go for it, you can see why the other animals would be frightened of them. They are really aggressive.
Well, you think they're in the same sort of areas that you'd find like hyenas
Snakes.
and lions and things. Why do they not go near them? There must be a reason for it. Probably the same reason why I ran away from Rory.
Yeah. Because it bites hard. If you've ever had a real genuine bite, it's a really hard bite. Yeah.
Edna bit one of my friends.
We had that. Alpha bit one of your friends.
Alpha bit, yeah.
To be fair, my friend, she dealt with it really well because her theory was she was wearing boots and I had Edna out and she was like, oh, I'll just climb over the thing because she had to grab something.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just stepping into Edna's area and then kind of stepping through it. And she was like, it's fine, I'm wearing boots. She can't get to me. But she was wearing a skirt as well. And I was like, you say this, but she'll just climb up your boots onto your... And by the time I finished saying that, she was latched onto her leg.
She got hold of her leg,
and my friend was just stood there like, I'm just not going to move. Everything is fine. But it's scarred quite badly, but she dealt with it very well.
Oh, bless. The thing I find with bites is that they bleed a lot as well. They must have something in their saliva that stops the blood from clotting because they're just poor with blood.
That's interesting because when I've had even nits, when they're just playing, they seem to bleed like anything. I thought there was literally something going wrong with my blood clotting ability.
Well, I was doubting myself, but my blood clots quite quickly. I've got a lot of iron in it. So it tends to clot fairly quick, but not when they bite.
Sven.
What?
Just had a tail.
Oh.
I think it's where they gouge. I think the way their teeth go in and they sort of gouge up, so it doesn't knit together particularly quickly.
Yeah.
And for the answer you asked me earlier, and in what way a pouch changed my life. You all know what I wanted more than a year and a half ago, and I have always been preparing, and I couldn't be more happier with Toka. I know, I made a special room just for her, and she really enjoys it, I think, here. So.
Well, to have her own bedroom, she's pretty spoiled.
She's remarkable. I mean, as soon as she came along, I know how long you'd waited, Sven, and that things hadn't worked out before, and I was just absolutely thrilled to be able to give you this chance. And
I thank you so much because when Mario passed, I didn't think I could have the other chance for having something like this. She's just I think she needs to go down, but I want to thank you guys so much. You changed me and my how do you say parenthood, like kind of things, like preparing food. I cook more.
Do you cook more for yourself as well now that she's here?
Yeah, as well. I have more herbs than before. I know what's in the fridge. So I throw away the things that are going over date. So, and
She's trained you really well.
You think?
I would
bet
love
she's
to
still
look at
here.
when
She can hear you.
she knows.
Tuka. Tuka. Oh, that's charming. I can just see a bum now.
Yeah, but she's digging again in the couch.
Oh.
She wants an entry there. No,
Oh,
no, no.
she's so big.
She got big quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Oh,
her.
look.
But she's a really lovely lady.
Yeah, she's good company. They become your friend, don't they?
I had a big chat with her before she left. I said that she had to be on her best behaviour, and then she'd have the best daddy in the world and the best mummy in the world, and she'd be really
You taught her
careful.
how to be a parrot.
Yeah,
She chirps like a bird, moans like a dog, and yeah, what was the other thing? I don't know. I think she really has an identity crisis.
We're coming back to what you were saying, Shannon, earlier about how they can be good for your mental health. I just think that people say that about fancy rats as well, probably with any pet. They're just such a source of comfort, and that they can give structure to lives at a really important time.
I'm sorry.
I think they really do feel like you kind of do get the feel that they understand you as well. Like they're kind of vibing you out. Like they're just working out how you're feeling, what kind of mood you're in. Like they just seem to know.
Yeah, I do think they can be really intuitive, more so than I ever expected an animal to be.
And they really like attention.
Yeah.
You have to keep your eyes on them every time. And watch what they're doing. Always. I don't know. I always want to watch my favorite show, but that's one thing that's gotten away, because when she's free roaming, I'm always sitting on the floor. And I'm being her personal piggyback ride. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm a
Yeah.
bit like that. I'm always kind of seem to spend my
And
life
she always smashes the shark. Always. I can puff it up like this.
And she'll jump back on it again. It becomes a game.
Yeah.
They get a reaction. They find it funny.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone in there now.
It's a really funny. That's the thing she got stuck in last time.
Oh, look.
She wanted to take it away, this thing.
They do get attached to bits of paper. Yeah.
Edna just loves bags. Any kind of
They
bag.
all seem obsessed. I swear that if there was like a global program where they just released loads of pouch rats into the wild, they'd find all plastic just got moved to one place.
Yeah, they could clear the beaches. They could clear the seas. They could...
Just release them everywhere,
Yeah. Yeah, nature's all little recyclers, aren't they, really?
Train them, because, well, some of ours even bring rubbish and put it in the bin. So you could train them to put stuff back in the bin.
You're trying to recycle my shoes, Arya.
I think, Linda, Kojo's the major collector in your house, isn't he?
He likes paper bags, though.
Yeah.
Billy was obsessed with plastic bags. But Kojo, it's paper bags. Kojo must be more environmentally conscious.
He probably is a little bit more. He's very woke, isn't he?
Edna's really fussy. She only likes thick paper. She doesn't like anything too thin.
Oh, so it has to be just right, or it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really fussy.
Oh, I'm just looking at the time. What
Yeah,
time have we got?
Yeah, I'm just thinking I'm going to have to go soon.
Yeah.
I think we've done our hour. So I'll be curious. So we had quite a few people watching. This was a bit more impromptu. we planned to have a bit more prepared, but some things went wrong, so I had to kind of rush the last couple of bits in a couple of minutes, which was fun, which is why things are not properly framed, everything's there, but you know, we got it working in the end. We got something kind of working. But I'll be curious, does people who are watching, leave in the comments, do you prefer this format where there's lots of us all talking and, oh, hello, the Beard X16, you joined us just as we're about to finish.
Oh, hello. Hi.
We'll probably look to do this once a month and see how it goes. We'll change up who joins, get different people in. We'll see how that goes. We'll try and do maybe a longer, so we'll do it up to an hour long, and we'll try and be a bit more structured in what we discuss as we have this time. Hopefully get things as they were before. But yeah, let us know in the comments if you think this works, whether this is this works better than the previous.
No.
Oh wait, no. And she's attacking your shoes. Well, cheers guys for coming, and cheers for being on live with us. Chase your shoes.
Thank you for setting it all up.
We don't. No.
Oh, but it seems like a good time to break now, I think. So thank you everyone for helping us out and joining in. It's been lovely seeing you.
So late. My laptop just
No, it's fine. I think keeping it a bit more a bit more easygoing probably works.
It is more fluid, and it's really nice to have other people rather than us sort of having to rack our brains coming up with topics. And we were doing it every week at one point, which was
Yeah.
No, this could be good, and we'll all get together later and kind of have a chat about how it went and what else we could do.
I think the more viewers we get, so we can drive up the numbers. I mean, all the guys watching, if we can drive more people to watch, more people to tune in, then we can start doing things like giveaways and make it all a bit more interactive and things. But we need to get the numbers up.
Yeah, it's really nice to see these new people coming up as well who are on the side script on YouTube. It's really good. So thank you to you all as well.
No.
Yeah, thanks guys. So we'll do this again. I think we're aiming for the first. Would you say the first Friday of every month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah.
Cool. We'll see you again in a month's time then. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for joining all you guys on Skype and on Zoom rather. And we'll see you again in a month's time.
And Rats, thank you, Rats, for joining in. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Super. And I will see you soon, Linda.
Oh, you will, yeah.
For real. Yeah. Bye for now.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.